Hey, friends, welcome to another episode of the show. I'm Joe, and today this is a gift to me personally. We're meeting with the superintendent who's left a number of big time school districts to lead about a 20,000 school system in Riverside County. He founded a leadership consulting company called Principled Leader while still running the district, I believe, and built an entire operational system using Clifton Strength Finders. I'm personally just like really eager to learn more about that. Dr. Gordon Amerson, Superintendent Valverde Unified School District and founder of the Principled Leader. Thanks for joining us today, Gordon.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me, Joe. It's an honor.
Hey, tell me, what is it like to be you today, boss?
It is fun. It is fast paced. I was having a conversation with somebody literally yesterday, and they said, "Hey, how's the new year going?" I'm like, "It's still January, but it feels like mid March because there are so many good things happening. There is so much optimism and so much positive traction for us to really explore and to do. And the things that were happening in our district, we're just excited about, and our team is raring to go. And we're going to seize the opportunities that are in front of us this year.
I love I love starting everything with what's right in the world because you
Yeah.
don't have to look very far to just find out the other story. So, where are you winning right now? Where is Valverde winning in the moment?
We've been really, really focused and really, really clear on where it is that we need to go and where we need to head. And that started with the assessment of, what is our long-term vision? What's our long-term goal? So we set about the process of going through a comprehensive strategic plan and design process. We are in month 7 of a 24-month engagement in that regard. We also have set about saying, how do we know what's working for kids? How do we know what's working for our professional educators across the district? How do we know what's working for our families? And so we started to do a process of doing a program review. We're looking at programs, initiatives, expenditures. Where are we getting the most bang for our buck? And then, in addition to that, we've also aligned our work around what is the Board of Education really looking for? What are those things that would make them feel excited and feel accomplished as a governing board? And so we settled on 4 really key essential goals:
Yeah.
increasing ELA and math achievement for our students across the district, decreasing chronic absenteeism in this COVID, post pandemic environment, and then also meeting the social emotional needs and supports of our students and the mental health needs of our students. And Joe, I've actually added on a little
Here we
tiny
go.
asterisk,
Here's number 5.
asterisk,
You're going
not
to hear it here first.
not to circumvent the board's intention, but I also added to that 4th goal of mental health, social emotional supports, not only for students, the asterisk is for staff as well.
Amen.
Because our staff is going to take good care of our kids, their mental health, their social emotional support, their overall development, their ability to work life balance, integration, et cetera, et cetera. That all matters. We do
in a,
not check who
in
we
a,
are.
in a world that has moved to this crazy VUCA, right? Just volatile,
Yes.
uncertain. We've moved from that to crazier of what most are calling now banny, brittle,
Mhm.
anxious,
Mhm.
right? Non-linear and incomprehensible.
Wow.
Wow is right, but I'm glad that you added the 5th.
Yeah, and it's been there's been some clarity, and we've brought in industry partners, we've brought in nonprofit foundations, philanthropic grants that have helped to fund and support the infrastructure to put these types of initiatives and put them in place. And so when we take the strategic planning process, we take the programmatic review process, we take really coalescing around what the board's governing goals are really. We have a really intentional laser-like focus, which is easy to get our heads and our hearts around, but it's also really easy to be able to talk to people about who we are and what we represent and what we're trying to get done.
Gordon, I need to ask because most superintendents are going to really question your ability to create a preferred future. You left a couple of very large school systems, right, to come to the inland empire, if you will, right? Demographically, 79% students of color, 68% economically disadvantaged. Those aren't real big lures, right? To bring people. Why in the world? Why Valverde? What was the attractor?
Oh, wow. how much time do we have for the pod? So here we go. So let me give some context. Yeah, I've had the fortunate ability to be an educator and a leader in very large systems here in the state of California. Worked in two of the largest districts in the state, leading up into the fact that I became a superintendent. But here's the thing: I worked in two large districts. One in San Bernardino County, high poverty, high needs, and then I worked in a very large complex system in Orange County, which was high affluence, still high needs, though. It's just the needs are still there. They just
Yeah.
manifest themselves differently.
Yeah.
But then I had the privilege of working in those two systems. And then my first superintendency was in a very small district. And people went, well, why would you go from large systems to a small system? Well, the superintendency has got multi layers and it's got multiple challenges. And here's the interesting thing about being a superintendent in a small district in LA County: you learn every facet of every component of the entire organization,
Right.
which I felt made me a better leader to then be able to come to a larger system like Valverde. But here's the real secret sauce. You talked about the Inland Empire. I'm an Inland Empire kid.
Coming home.
I was
Coming
born and
home.
raised in this community. I was born and raised in this environment. And so when I see the kids running around on the playground, I see myself, because I was that kid running around on the playground, and coming to a place like Valverde where it felt like home, where it felt like it was a community that I knew and I understood, that I could then add value to that
Sir,
community.
you just lit up. You just lit up when you talked about that homecoming. And my guess is you weren't doing this because you needed a bigger LinkedIn profile.
No,
You wanted to know, truly get to know, how many principals do you have? 20,
we
20
have
or so?
22. We have 22.
22 principals. You really wanted to get to know your principal. In a large system,
Exactly.
not even possible. Not even possible. But I
Exactly.
know you as a leader that knows the power of relationships to the power of changing systems, which you've got gaps to occlude. Who doesn't? Right.
Mhm.
And that doesn't happen without really that cohesion of I got you. Right. And the challenge of let's go get this. Right.
That's exactly right. And we spend intentional time. Uh, I personally spend intentional time with each of our principals. I personally make myself available to do coaching sessions with them. I show up to their office and I want to spend time with them because I know the challenges that they've gone through. I've sat in their seat. I know that there are 100 competing factors. And so I want to come alongside them and be a thought partner and be somebody who's going to say, all right, I'm listening to you, and I'm going to go and knock those hurdles down that exist back in that district office that I happen to occupy a space in. Let me go talk to some folks. Let me see if I can knock some of these things out of the way. Because the reality is, where the secret sauce gets
Mm,
made are at school sites. Our
mm.
kids are being serviced by educators who are professionals, who are creators, who are, resourceful and brilliant. And so how do we create the environment and the conditions by being somewhat of a flat organization and not being so top down, and just letting the principals and those educators out at school sites, let them create that space. They know their kids and they know their parents and they know those communities far better than I ever will. So how do I come alongside of them to be a support, as opposed to dictating what needs to always happen every single day?
So you as a superintendent are also an amazing coach. I mean, you've built a skill set. You've got some amazing tools that you're using with your principals and probably across your cabinet as well. And I can't imagine the joy of being able to work for somebody that is actually fighting for me. So receive that. And I want to talk about one of the tools that you actually use. So your Clifton Strengths Finder,
Yes.
um, and not just as a okay, we're taking it and then we're going to have a just a really fun team building exercise and then the thing gets filed away. Tell me how you've integrated that tool into in a robust nature, to really impact the change that you desire to see across the system.
So this will be an interesting response, and probably not necessarily the one that you expected that you were going to hear. So let me say it this way: when I became exposed and my eyes were open to Clifton strengths and the ability to really target your natural gifts, your natural talents, it just became kind of the thing that was like, oh, this is the thing that I need to do, that I need to invest in. It came on the tail end of also being deeply engaged in Franklin Covey's work around speed of trust.
Sure.
So speed of trust, which is also a foundational piece of kind of almost my three-legged stool of leading, if you will.
Can we hear? I want to hear about those three legs.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
going. Keep
So
going.
first and foremost, it's always going to be about a coaching relationship. That's what I have with every single one of my administrators, every single one of our leaders. I always start from the coaching frame. It comes all the way back to my experience as an athlete. So I had the privilege of playing professional sports. I played some minor league baseball for the first 5 years of, once I graduated from high school, I got drafted. I was playing with the Padres and played with the Yankees for a few years. And I learned through that coaching mindset of like, get better, put the right people on the field. Who can you rely on? How do you execute under stress? What are the expectations? Like all those things were all a part of that coaching foundation. So the coaching foundation is leg number one. The second piece is every organization that is an organization of excellence, they have high levels of trust that are built intentionally throughout the organization. So when you think about the speed of trust as a
Mm,
framework, you've got 13 speed of trust behaviors. You've got
mm.
things like talk straight, demonstrate results, demonstrate respect, practice accountability, extend trust. These 13 speed of trust behaviors lay the foundation, and they give you language of how you can work with people, how you can talk to people, how you can create an environment where a relationship can be developed, can be cultivated, and in times of turmoil can be restored. So
You
it's
see, you see vividly what most leaders are maybe just accidentally walking into. The understanding that if you don't have this foundation of trust
correct.
and the posture of a coach, anything else that you might want to be pursuing, empowering your people, building healthy conflict, right? Managing change, building collaborative environments, it's not going to stick. You don't have that foundation. So just kudos the fact that I don't know if somebody gave that to you or if you just had a big old light that hit you on that beautiful head of yours and went, "Wah."
It was a combination of both. It was a combination of both, Joe. If I'm being honest, the speed of trust piece, which I didn't understand when I was a younger administrator, and I was young and brash and overconfident and all that kind of stuff. Um, I wasn't a very good leader,
Mm,
and I've said in different spaces, and I've said it publicly that I was a terrible first year principal, and I had to do a lot of soul searching. And when I came back in year two, I came back and I apologized to the entire faculty. I
wow.
said, let's restart this relationship. Let's rebalance this. And I use the speed of trust framework
Mm,
as an anchor point for that. So then once you've I use my coaching frame, and then once you take and you build that organizational trust, which is critically important, then the third step of that is once you've cultivated and created that rich and fertile environment, now we can start to say, okay, but now how do we go from good to great, from excellent to excellence? Well, how do we put you in the place in the space that you are most talented, you are most gifted, and the things that naturally come to you?
yeah.
That becomes the strengths piece. So if I'm talking about the arc of this, we're not even there yet in Valverde because I'm only in year 1.5. We're
Mhm.
still in trust building phase. Moving to strengths is year 2, 3, 4, 5, 17.
Yep.
So it is a progression
I love
because
the fact that you said excellent versus excellence. That wasn't just a flippant. No, that's very
correct,
intentional.
intentional.
My guess is excellence is we're always becoming,
We're
right?
always
You never get to excellence.
1% better every single day, and you'll never ever be finished. What?
So
Absolutely.
good.
So that three-legged stool that served me as a high school principal, that served me in a large system in San Bernardino, a large system in Capistrano Unified, a smaller system in Duarte, and that three-legged stool will continue to serve our team here in Valverde as we're kind of working our way through that process.
So internally, you're using this, and you're becoming not excellence, but you're pursuing excellence. I'm just going to keep riding that. I'm
Mhm.
just going to keep riding. You're building your own skill sets to heavily influence the work of building your people leaders and building their capacity. Because there's so many leaders out there that are just pursuing the systems mastery, right? You go to conferences and figure out, how to maximize your system, how to better economize your system, and not enough people are really talking about how do you raise up your people,
Right.
How do you raise up your people? That is a balance. You can't just be a people leader and not a system leader, right? You can't be a system leader and not a people leader. You
Correct.
get it. You get
Yeah.
it. And my guess is you're starting to see, even in year 1.5, you're starting to see some results in building that cohesion necessary to really amplify your performance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what excites me about some of the previous conversations that you and I have had around your drive around systems leadership and systems improvement. And I am this human centered leader who wants deeply just to connect on a personal level, and then also using that lever of having those deep, committed, trusting relationships as a fulcrum to fix systems and to build systems that are robust and systems that are resilient, that can deal with the stress that comes with the environment and the world that we live in today, right? Because no system is ever going to just remain perfect. It's always going to have stress. It's always going to have that. But the things that you do underlying that, the things that you do leading into that, the systems that you've built, the infrastructure that you build and you create beneath that, then you add on top of that the relationship building and the trust. Now you've got this great combination of how to build something that's excellent.
Not only that, but the myth of every school board looking for the perfect leader that's going to come in and fix their broken system.
Yeah. I
The
don't think, I
myth.
don't think a such leader exists.
It's a myth. It's a myth.
Yeah.
The leader, and there's plenty of research out there, does nothing more than make great decisions. Right. That's really the only thing that you do in
Mhm.
order to build the competence and the impact of a team that's going to fix that system. But it's never the one. It's
Right.
never just the leader.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I love that because, yeah, somebody was asking not too long ago, very similar to what you just said. It's like, what is it that we get paid to do? It's like, well, we have to run the system, which I use and equate to you put out fires kind of constantly. 95% of the time, you kind of like managing the system, you're putting out fires, and about 1 to 2 to 3% of the time, you are making the absolute critical decisions that nobody else can make, and that's where you actually are your value. That's your actual value.
Yeah, it's the make or break. It's the
Mhm.
make or break. Let's talk quickly about you got a little side hustle going on that is impacting not just Valverde. I mean, you're taking the skills, the tools, everything that you're doing to build capacity, and you're just gifting, right? You're just lending some of that wisdom to other systems. So you've got this thing, the principled leader.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Where did it come from? What is it doing?
Yeah, well, the blessings and the trappings of COVID-19. So I found myself watching way too much YouTube during the pandemic, and here in California, we were locked down pretty tight, and um, I found myself on these YouTube videos, and then all of a sudden, this YouTube person says, "Hey, do you have a skill set that people tell you that you're pretty good at? Well, if you do, you should have a business. You should have an LLC." And I was like, "Yeah, I need one of those." So I actually created the LLC, and I'd been talking to people. I'd come off of the stage and at a conference, educational conference, and presented, and they're like, "Hey, do you ever do that?" I was like, "No, I just." They asked me to come speak at the conference, but I don't do this. I'm a principal, or I'm a teacher, I'm a this, I'm a that.
Right, right.
And then something sparked differently, and I just heard it differently during the pandemic, and so then it started there, and then we just started to get a client or two, and it was all around leadership development. It was all about capacity building. And so I have helped folks with executive coaching. I've helped folks build strategic plans. I've helped people build up and create collective capacity across their executive teams. I've helped governing boards and city councils do conflict resolution and
Wow.
mediation, and help them do some team building and things like that. So I've worked in the political sphere. I've worked in just the educational leadership sphere. You name it. My whole thing with the principled leader and the design of the name is very intentional. I learned everything I needed to learn about leadership as a principal of a school.
Mm.
Education, and as a 25-year educator, education is the backbone and is the crux of everything that is good about our country, good about our communities, and good about our kids. And then leader, the actual concept of leading and running systems and being responsible and serving others and creating a better reality and a better future for people is why we created the principled leader.
Love it, love it. I'm into words. I'm into names. I'm into all that stuff. And I'm not. I don't know how in the world most superintendents don't find time to return emails, right? But you're running a district, a large district, in my perspective, and a coaching business. I don't know. That's either time management wizardry. You just kind of figured that out. Maybe that's one of your tools. And folks, lean in if he's got a tool to help you like economize your time, or maybe you've just automated yourself out of what most superintendents are just stuck in. Tell it, how in the world do you
Yeah,
balance
yeah,
that world?
it is very intentional. Part of it is to have a to in this emerging world of innovation and digitization, it is having a digital presence. So I chose to I love to talk. So I chose to start talking into a camera and creating YouTube videos around these leadership concepts, these leadership principles. I'm posting on social media and creating that. But the reality is coaching and consulting and working with people, the system that we work in now, jumping on a Zoom call,
Yeah,
you know, being being on a FaceTime call, just being on a phone call. If I can be a listening ear and I can talk back to you, I can coach and consult you. I don't have to physically be standing right in
right.
front of you in that particular moment. And so you kind of leveraging that and then being really intentional about creating time and space within my calendar, taking a vacation day, having that time, having that space. It is doable. It's about prioritization. It's about clarity of intent.
Mm.
It's about communicating. It's about communicating with my team, communicating with my community, and making sure people know what is the main thing. And also, it's also about focus. The number one most important thing, and the number one thing that's going to drive everything, is Valverde Unified
So
School.
true.
And
So
then
true.
taking those lessons and taking those ahas and taking those wins and then using them as a backdrop to go and talk to other people about, if you want to build a strong system, here's how you can create a strategic plan. Here's how I'm doing it over here. So
Yep.
it's nested. It
Yeah,
becomes
it's the practice,
yes.
right? It's you're building a community of practice. Of who's your ideal client, real quickly, and
Yeah.
like who should be calling you right now?
Ideal clients, school level leaders, principals, aspiring principals, district level leaders, folks who are aspiring to be the superintendents. I support and coach superintendents across the region. People call and ask. Uh, uh, Anybody in the education space who sees themselves and identifies themselves as a leader who wants to build capacity, who wants to build excellence, and who wants to actually tackle the times and the challenges that we're going through in a strategic and intentional way. Those would be the ideal clients that I would love to support and talk to.
How do they find you?
Uh, LinkedIn, YouTube, LinkedIn. Gordon Emerson is just under my name. YouTube, Gordon Emerson is my YouTube channel. Any of those places and spaces. My on my LinkedIn is my email address. On my YouTube videos are my email address, my phone number. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Out.
if they found you here, they're gonna find you there.
Yeah,
I think it's that in today's economy.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I love to take superhuman leaders, right, that are doing just unbelievable work out there, and let's just see how human they really are. We're going to do a bit of a lightning round.
Lightning round.
Okay, you ready for this?
I think I'm ready.
You need a pep talk.
Uh, yeah, maybe after. No, but let's get.
All right, here we go. What's a quote that you live by, Gordon?
There's a lot of quotes, but I'm going to give you a mantra instead. So the mantra would be, don't do it fast, uh, do it right, but more importantly, do it together. That's a
Mm,
mantra that I live by every single day. Now, if I gave you a quote, the quote would be, get really good people in a room, really good, smart, intelligent people in a room together and let them argue, and the best outcome will come. That's John Wooden.
that's John Wooden. There we go. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I am both. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, my wife will yell at me constantly. I'm an early riser, but I'm also a late to bed. I'm always thinking, my mind's always going, and I'm always working.
A decision you'd make 10 times over again.
Make the choice to be devastatingly transparent and alert my school district when I caught a teacher cheating on the state standards test.
Ooh,
And I took a lot of flack for it. Our school took a lot of flack for it, and I'd make that same decision every single time.
Right there, not just not just smart and hungry. This dude's humble. Love it. In and out or Tommy's? Let's be
100% in
real.
and out, man. In
In
and
and
out,
out.
in and out, in and out.
What's your top Clifton strength?
Learner.
Learner.
I go down that learner rabbit hole.
Yep. I resonate with that.
Yeah.
How about best lesson from your past? Any of your career opportunities, what you've learned that you're bringing into Valverde? Best lesson.
Yeah, I would learn that sometimes people make assumptions about um, the size of a district is how it's complex or challenging. Uh, in leadership, no matter how large or how small your team is, the complexities of leading are always going to be there, and you can learn a great deal by embracing a small environment, and which my small district and Duarte taught me everything about how to lead in a larger system.
Got it. Got it. All right. Let's be real here. If you were not a superintendent, you got a lot of gas left in that tank, but what would you be doing if you were not a superintendent?
I'd be waking up every morning before the sun came up so I could have the very first tea time at my local club. So that way I could be done with that round by 9 a.m. And then I would spend the rest of my day talking to people about how to help them make systems better, how to support kids more fulsomely, and how to create just a better community and better educational space.
I can see that preferred future. Hey, what would teacher Gordon think of superintendent and CEO Gordon?
I think Teacher Gordon would hopefully be inspired to be led by Superintendent Gordon, because I've learned and matured and grown to be, I think, a much better leader, a much more humble leader about
Mm.
understanding that we all do this. We lift each up together, and no individual person makes the system better. No individual person ever creates a system of excellence. And so, what Teacher Gordon would hopefully say to Superintendent Gordon would be, "I see you, and I like what you're doing, and I'm happy to follow you. I like your vision."
And I'd like a 4-day week.
Me too.
How about a word or a phrase? Valverde's future.
Rising,
Rising.
rising.
Boom. Boom. Last question. AI versus your best principles. Who's winning?
uh,
Be careful.
I'm gonna say AI with an asterisk. We have amazing principles, and they are resourceful. And the number one thing that I'm learning about AI is that it makes me better. So if I simply said, I don't want AI to be better than my principles, but I want my principles to use AI so they're even better than they already are.
So good. So good. Everybody, this is one of our best episodes. You're going to want to put this one on repeat. You're going to want to send this one off. I think what Gordon just showed us, honestly, it's just the constraint is not your district size, right? It's your leadership model. It's your ability to lead people and systems in a way that is hitting the standard, right? Is it the standard of excellence? But not only that, but moving towards even better. So I think most superintendents they're managing their deficits, right? Their achievement gaps,
Mhm.
their improvement plans, their intervention programs. They optimize in fixing what's broken. What you saw here was a bit of a paradigm shift, right? Managing strengths that build the entire system towards what is working and how do we double down on that. Any last words of encouragement or insight or wisdom, boss, for people that might aspire for your office someday? Not your particular office, but the
Yeah,
office of the superintendent.
yeah, I'm clear-eyed about that. Absolutely. Um, it's the greatest job in the world.
Mm,
It's one of the few places that you can be where you get to have an idea, you get to cultivate and build that idea, and then you have the actual leadership ability, capacity, and also the authority in many cases, working with your board, obviously, to do that. So if I want to build a building, I can go build a building. If I want to go build and create a new Mandarin immersion program, we could go build a Mandarin immersion program. Like, I have the ability to turn that idea into a concrete program and initiative. There are not a lot of jobs or not a lot of occupations where you actually get that level of autonomy and that level of influence. And for that, I'm extremely humbled and extremely thankful for the opportunity to serve in these types of roles. And I want to let people know that education is a great place and it's a great space, and we need great leaders. And so I'm gonna continue to do my part in identifying more and more leaders, creating creating an absolute army of educators who are principled in their approach, who understand that they leverage those principles and they're intentional and they're humble and they're trustworthy. And we can create great schools and do great things for kids.
I'm ready to run through a wall for you, Coach. I'm ready to do that. If they want to learn more about Valverde, where do they go?
Go straight to our website. It's Valverde, VALVERDE.edu. We're one of the only K-12 systems in America that has the .edu domain.
There it is. There it is, folks. That's the show. Again, you're going to want to just repeat and repeat and repeat this one. Peace, friends. Stay healthy. Stop.